I mean, I don't think it's ever a good sign when a fly lands on your head for 2 minutes. That's a sign all through history of sin, and historically, biblically. Maybe you wouldn't normally say this after you wouldn't. It's only safe to say this, sorry, after midnight. But a fly, he who commands the fly, has always been seen historically as the mark of the devil.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the first and only VP debate of 2020 between the current Vice President Mike Pence and the vice presidential hopeful, the senator from California, Kamala Harris. The debate took place at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City on Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, between 9 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The debate stage was kind of ridiculous. Pence and Harris sat 12 feet apart with these gigantic plexiglass partitions in between them. You're talking about corner store bulletproof glass so you don't get jacked in the middle of the night. That type of glass was going on. It was kind of a weird sight to see. There was also a moderator on stage with no kind of plexiglass bulletproof window in front of her for some reason. I don't know why, but I digress. Speaking of the moderator, her name is Susan Page from USA Today. I don't know much about her. I hear she's a liberal, but I don't know anything about her. She did a fairly decent job moderating. Okay, the questions that she had, I'm not sure where they came from. I'm not sure if she wrote them or who wrote them, but if she wrote them, they were most certainly geared in favor of Kamala Harris and against Pence and the Trump administration. That's a fact. Okay, but as far as her moderating, going from question to question, she didn't do that bad. I think she was cutting off Pence towards the end of his statements more than she cut off Kamala Harris towards the end of hers. But overall, she didn't do really bad. She would ask a tough question and sometimes ask Kamala Harris the same tough question. Although I think she was more in favor of Kamala, it was much more balanced than Chris Wallace, so-called conservative over on Fox News, but different story, I digress. Their speaking times were almost equal according to CNN. I'm talking about within like 4 or 5 seconds equal. But according to other sources, Kamala Harris had 3 more minutes. So I'm not really sure which one is right, which one is wrong. But CNN says almost the same. Other sources say 3 more minutes for Kamala Harris. Don't really know, but we'll move right on. The debate I thought was pretty good. Not too much over talking, loud talking, wrong talking. Pence was really smooth, cool, calm, and collected. Kamala Harris was Kamala Harris. I think Kamala Harris comes off like maybe a DMV employee or just not a person that is really built for politics. Okay? If you're a DMV employee, no offense, I'm just saying, you got to have a certain something about yourself to really be in politics. You got to, look the part and act the part. And speaking of looks, I'm going to get to the elephant in the room for some of you, and that's the fly on Mike Pence's head that came about at a later point in the debate. That's going to be the topic of conversation for a lot of people. You saw the clip I played earlier, dude talking about it's a demon approaching. You're going to see a lot of that happening as a result of the fly, okay? I was live streaming in the debate, and thank you to everybody that came through for the live stream. I appreciate you guys. But as I'm live streaming it, I'm also on Twitter live tweeting it. And as soon as the fly hit his head, I saw all the Shade Room or Charlemagne the Guy, all these, the super left wing, MS-13 DNC, CNN, they blew up. Oh, it's a fly on his head. Look at that. Okay, nothing of intelligence to say throughout the entire debate except for the fly on his head. It was a funny moment, yeah, but good grief. Is that all you got from the debate was a fly on the head? You're not really going to be thinking very critically about who you're voting for, but different story, I digress. The issue of the virus was brought up right from the beginning by the moderator, and I think Pence handled it well. One thing he brought up was the fact that Trump cut off all that Chinese travel immediately. This is in January when Joe Biden said it's xenophobic. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. What did the World Health Organization say? Oh, don't cut off Chinese travel. That's racist. You're gonna stoke xenophobia and racist attacks. And you had Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi talking about, hey, come on down to Chinatown. Everything's all right. Same thing with Bill de Blasio. You had that going on. All right. Trump was one of the first guys out there to stop that Chinese travel. Kamala Harris as she did throughout the debate, she brought up a CNN, MS-13, DNC, ABC, CBS. She brought up their talking points. You know, the little anti-Trump one-liners. Oh, well, Bob Woodward said that Trump said that he knew the virus was airborne and he didn't tell us. I mean, imagine what could happen if he told us. She also said that if Fauci were to recommend the vaccine, that she would take it, but not if Trump recommended it. It's like, what? Do you understand who Anthony Fauci works for? He works for Trump. He's in the administration. Trump is no doctor. He's not going to go out there and just create his own vaccine. He's going to rely on Anthony Fauci and many others that are in the medical industry to come up with that. It won't come straight from Trump. It'll come from Fauci and the rest of them. All right. Now, if she trusts Fauci so much, then what Mike Pence said about Fauci just kind of drives a nail in the coffin on the whole virus issue, because Fauci, remember, he said that whatever he told Trump behind the scenes and closed doors is what he said out there to the people, that he did not hide anything from the people. All right. And Fauci was kind of a combatant type person. If Trump were to not say a thing that he should say, Fauci would say it and deal with whatever happened later. So this whole thing about, oh, he didn't tell us everything is bogus. If you believe in Fauci so much, then believe in what he said, but I'll move right along. Speaking of Kamala Harris and all these anti-Trump one-liners, there were quite a few. The whole thing about good people on both sides, Charlottesville. Yes, she did bring Charlottesville up, of course, during the debate. The whole, oh, he doesn't really pay his taxes, $750 in taxes, and he owes a bunch of money in loans and all this and that. It's a security risk. It's like, man, come on. You're giving me just a regular normies approach to the debate. That's not how, you don't look presidential or vice presidential. And really, you need to look presidential, because your guy Joe Biden does not look really well. If by some chance you were to win the election, it would be you, Kamala Harris, that's going to be taking the reins. It won't be your guy, Joe Biden. All right. She did not look presidential, vice presidential, or anything like that. Not even senatorial. Pence, on the other hand, like I was saying from the jump, came off cool, calm, and collected. When the issue was brought up, he was able to get it out there, get it out very smoothly. And I appreciated him for that. Now, there was a couple of times we had to kind of get animated a little bit, but not too much, just a little bit. The issue of packing the court got brought up because we're trying to confirm Amy Coney Barrett. When I say we, I mean those of us on the right. And Pence asked the question directly, are you going to pack the court? If you were to win the election, are you going to pack the court? Joe Biden, he's trying to dance around it. You're trying to dance around it. Please answer the question. Are you going to pack the court? He was pretty forceful in his request. Now, what did she do? Give a story about Abraham Lincoln in 1864, and then talk about, oh, Trump did not appoint enough black judges. It's like, what? Why are you talking about black judges here, man? I'm talking about, are you going to pack the court? She did not answer that. And I think everybody saw that, the left and the right, in the media, and regular people, if they were paying attention, they noticed that. She did not answer the question because they want to. And I like how Pence said, you know what? She didn't answer, so you have your answer. They would pack the court if they had a chance. And if you don't know what that means, basically, they want to have another Supreme Court justice to even it up. So they think they may get rid of the conservative advantage. Basically, that's their objective by packing the court. They also want to admit DC and other places as states to get more Democrat representatives. So they're trying to overwhelm conservatives with more Democrats, basically, but I move right along. I like how Mike Pence brought up the fact that a lot of what Joe Biden is talking about out there on the campaign trail sounds like plagiarism, a thing that Joe Biden is familiar with. That was an excellent burn. He said that with no smile on his face, without skipping the beat, without raising his voice. It was just deadpan, but brilliant. And he's right about that because, you know, this whole thing about America first that the left say is racist and is nationalist, white nationalist, all this, that, and the third, that's a lot of what Joe Biden says. We're going to bring jobs back to America. We're going to build back better in America. America this, America that. You might as well say America first. Keep America. You might as well put on the MAGA hat. Really make America great again. Keep America great. You might as well say that because that's pretty much what he was doing. A lot of plagiarism while trying to say, oh, no, I'm not really doing that. supporting the Green New Deal, but oh no, I'm not really doing that. A lot of lying, a lot of mixed direction. The question of Breonna Taylor was brought up by the moderator, and she was asking, was that justice being served? And Mike Pence gave the perfect answer. He was like, well, it's a tragedy. It's unfortunate that the family lost their daughter, their loved one, their friend. But I believe in the justice system, and I think the system works, which is a fact because you have a grand jury, you have evidence, and they are privy to evidence that we don't see. And that's what he was saying. He was like, look, the grand jury, they had the evidence, they go over it, I have confidence in them and what they were able to see, right? Now, Kamala Harris says, oh, the act was unjustifiable. The shooting wasn't justified at all. I spoke to Breonna Taylor's family. What she said really was a whole lot of just pandering to that particular side of the aisle that thinks that Breonna Taylor's shooting was not justified, basically. And she was their attorney general in California. She should know how the grand juries work. She should know how evidence works and that type of thing. But she's got to abandon all of that to just look at trying to become the president, or the vice president, quote unquote, and ignore all the facts. The same old question about will you accept the election results? Will there be a peaceful transition got brought up, and Pence was like, hey, the left have not accepted the 2016 results yet. As a matter of fact, they didn't even want 2016 to happen. They spied on the campaign, the Russia collusion hoax, the Ukraine impeachment thing. They have not accepted 2016 yet, and we're into 2020. I thought it was a great response. The final question came from a school-aged girl, and she asked about how people can get along when you have all this fighting and whatnot happening on the news. And I think Pence gave a very good answer here. He was saying, first of all, when you see the news and things that are going on, that's not indicative of every person in America. And he's right about that, because you'll see the highlighted things happening on the news, but that's not going to be your everyday experience. There may be a riot happening in Milwaukee, LA, Chicago, somewhere. You might live in Chicago and see no riots. The news amplifies things. Yes, it is happening. Yes, it is a concern, but it's not just your everyday walking experience. And he also brought up the fact that Antonin Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, despite being obvious political opponents, they got along as friends. They had a friendship despite all the political stuff. So you should look at that and see that as way to go forward. I thought it was a great story. I've seen stories like this about Trump supporters, Biden supporters getting together, and it's all good. They can put politics to the side. That's a great thing. Now, Kamala Harris kind of went down to this whole Charlottesville hoax and said, well, Joe Biden saw Charlottesville and he said, you know what, I got to run, I guess for the third time, but different story. Anyway, she was saying that what you're seeing in the news is true, and we got to come in and get elected to fix it. That's pretty much her statement. That was not a very uplifting statement, if you ask me. So that was the debate in a nutshell. Overall, I enjoyed it. I thought Pence got his points out pretty well. He was able to hit certain key targets. And when the moderator would try to overtalk him, he would just calmly overtalk her, not go start to shout, but he would be like a little bit louder so you can hear him over her. So he did a really good job. Kamala Harris, repetitive, very repetitive. It's like she had 2 or 3 talking points she wanted to hammer down. All right. I think Pence called her on it. Even the moderator called her on it when she was trying to butt in to get her point out. The moderator was like, okay, you said that earlier. Let's move on to the next topic. So I thought that was really good. Overall, I enjoyed it. I think Pence won, obviously. I think Kamala Harris got washed. She was smoked like a ham. Okay, she pretty much got destroyed, and I don't think it was close. I think anybody that was watching that and was being honest can say that. The debate between Trump and Biden, you can say Trump did X, Y, and Z. He had X, Y, and Z flaw. As far as him winning, it's clear that he won, but he may have been flawed in his win. But I think Pence was flawless. If people talk about that fly on his head, then you know that that's all they focused on. That's all they really got from it. They didn't understand much of anything else. Speak about the fly, but also what about some of the policies? What about, police reform? What about economics? What about monies? What about, the virus? What about that? That should be the focus rather than other ancillary things that don't really matter. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Pence did a good job during the debate? Do you think he won? Or do you think Kamala Harris won? Whoever you think won, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think Pence won that debate handedly, fair and square, no cheating, no BS. It was right on point. I want to have more debates between the two of them, but that'll be the only one. Who do you think will win the actual race? Will it be Trump and Pence, or will it be Biden and Kamala Harris? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.